Our story begins with a lady cleaning her pool. She is Hunter, our protagonist. Then we see 3 baby sheep. Someone grabs one of them to end the poor animal's life. Then we see someone's hand holding a marble. The switching of scenes soon settles on a fancy gathering of people. The man in charge gets everyone's attention. He tells them he is making his son, Richie, the managing director of his company. He will be the youngest person with that title in the company's history. Richie stands up to proudly announce that he did all of this with the help of his bride, Hunter. He also thanks his father for buying him a house. On the next day, Hunter sits at home, drawing in a notebook while watching TV. This is followed by her preparing food, making sure it looks good. The later part of the day is occupied by her playing a game on her phone. We are given the impression that she is bored, with a lot of time on her hands. Her game ends with Richie's arrival from work. During dinner, she tells him there is room for a flower bed near the pool. She also mentions the kind of flowers she would like to plant there. As Hunter is talking, he responds to something on his phone. She continues anyway, saying she likes the name Morning Glories. When she says she feels very lucky, Richie just smiles before returning to his phone. We can see the obvious distance in this relationship. From the view outside the window, we see the distance even more. He stays glued to his phone while she looks off to the side. Later, Hunter takes a pregnancy test. This leads to Richie calling his mom to announce that they are pregnant. He uses the word they instead of saying Hunter. After the phone call, he expresses his joy to his wife. Afterward, the couple goes to meet his parents at a restaurant for dinner. There, we learn that Richie's mother, Catherine, was in labor for 30 hours with Richie. He was born blue. He is said to have sucked on the cat's tail as a baby. Richie chimes in that Hunter was a crazy kid too. He wants her to tell his parents about a certain story, but he cannot remember hardly anything about it. His lack of memory shows more distance between them. Hunter thinks it's not worth telling, it's not even a story to her. However, she starts describing it. There was a local man where she grew up, who would stand on the side of the road, blowing kisses to all the cars passing by. He scared her, because he had a beard and dirty hair. Richie is smiling as she tells this story. While she talks, Richie's dad, Michael, interrupts her to ask his son a work-related question. He doesn't even apologize for the interruption. This makes Hunter look somewhat uneasy. She looks into her glass of ice cubes. All 3 family members go off chatting about wherever Michael's question led them to. Not one of them has the decency to allow Hunter to continue her story. She starts eating one of her ice cubes, unintentionally getting their attention with the noise. Though we still don't get to hear her story about the mysterious bearded man. Back at home, Hunter prepares a room for their future baby. Soon, Catherine enters the room, startling Hunter. She gives Hunter a self-help book which she liked when she was pregnant. She then says Hunter would look very pretty with long hair. She encourages her to grow it out, because her son likes girls with long hair. At a different time, Hunter opens the book. The passage we focus on tells her to do something unexpected. Following this, she opens a glass box with various items inside. She takes out a marble we saw in the opening sequence earlier, to look at it with interest. Surprisingly, she puts it in her mouth, swallowing it. In bed, she hums to herself, prompting Richie to ask what she's happy about. The man is on his phone again. She replies that she did something unexpected today, just like that book passage advised her to. She also asks him to promise not to laugh at her when she explains what it is. We thought she was going to tell him about swallowing the marble, but instead she only alludes to something insignificant, perhaps not trusting him. She soon gets on top of him, inquiring whether she makes him happy. He says he's the happiest man in the world, loving everything about her. Her second question is whether he's mad at her because of something wrong she might have done. According to him, she can't do anything wrong. On the next day, Richie asks her if she ironed his tie, annoyed that this kind of tie should not be ironed. Already we see she has done something wrong, contradicting what he told her last night. The man expresses his dissatisfaction, but he still tells her it's okay. Home alone, Hunter puts on some rubber gloves to reach for something in the toilet. It is the marble. Once she washes it, she places it somewhere. As she is watching television, her phone rings. She tells the person on the other line that she will arrive somewhere soon. The next scene shows her sitting at Catherine's house. The lady tells Hunter she wanted to be an actress. We learn Hunter did retail before she met Richie. She used to sell toiletries. Catherine considers her lucky to have met her son, allowing her to leave such a demeaning job. At that moment, Catherine shares the best advice she ever received, to fake it until you make it. She asks her daughter-in-law if she's a faker, or if she made it. Since Hunter does not quite understand her question, Catherine rephrases it, is she happy or just pretending to? Hunter promises she is happy, yet we don't know if she's being truthful. Back at home, she vacuums the living room and finds a pin in the bottom of the cleaner. Placing it on the counter, she looks at it for some time. Hunter puts it in her mouth, only to spit it out. She checks her mouth in the mirror, seeing blood on her tongue. Then she sits on the couch and periodically looks at the pin on the counter. We get a sense that she wants to do it again. It doesn't take long for her to walk toward the pin with confidence. The bold lady swallows it this time. Although she is bold, she's not perfectly sane. We see the bad decision she made when she suffers somewhat from the swallow. However, the suffering turns into a satisfied smile in a few seconds. After that, Hunter looks at herself in the mirror. She touches her slightly pregnant belly. At night, she watches Richie with some of his coworkers near the pool. A pain troubles her, causing the lady to put her hand on the window. In the washroom, we see blood on the toilet. We can guess the pin came out. The blood makes her begin cleaning the toilet. Richie knocks on the door, asking what's going on in there. Once his wife comes out, he wants to know what is wrong because she is trembling. He leaves when he learns she is okay. At that point, Hunter looks at the pin in her hand. She places it near the marble that came out of her. Her second swallowed item is considerably worse than the first. Afterward, she goes to look at the group near the pool again. There, she spots blood on her dress. As she tries washing it off, one of Richie's coworkers comes over to her. He says he is Aaron. He gives her his congratulations on her baby, but she doesn't look too happy about it. Out of nowhere, he asks to have a hug, quite an odd thing to ask of one's friend's wife at their home. Upon asking him why, he says he's not drunk enough to ask for a kiss. She reminds him she is Richie's wife, but he is undeterred, and perhaps sensing a fellow lonely soul in him, she allows him to embrace her. In the next scene, Hunter puts a Duracell battery in her mouth. It's becoming an ordinary phenomenon now. We see how ordinary it truly is, because it goes hand in hand with her keeping the house tidy like a good housewife. Richie comes behind to hug her, approving of her housework. The next thing she swallows is a page from the book Catherine gave her. We see a collection of items she has swallowed, and it is quite big. At the hospital, Hunter is getting an ultrasound. Richie shows delight in seeing the baby, but the nurse is concerned with seeing something else there. Following this, she gets quickly carried away in a gurney by 3 nurses. A camera enters her mouth to show the personnel where the foreign object is. Shortly afterward, we see the many items that have been taken out. Hunter does not even swallow them one at a time anymore. The lady has certainly gone mad. Back at home, Richie is furious, wanting to know what is wrong with his wife. He's trying to understand why she is engaging in such bizarre behavior. There isn't a rational explanation, though. She just professes that she wanted to do it. He wishes she had told him about it before they got married, launching the pair into an argument. After apologizing, she says she never did anything like this previously. Since the event was so unpleasant, Richie continues to express his disbelief, making her feel even worse. He also throws all of her swallowed trophies away. Subsequently, the couple occupies a therapist's office along with Michael. In a short time, Richie leaves with his dad, allowing our heroine to be alone with the therapist. She lies on the couch, asking to just have the medication. Yet the therapist warns that talking is important too. Hunter, though, just wants to stop swallowing things to make Richie happy. She doesn't even know how she feels when swallowing them. She likes the textures in her mouth. Cold metal is her favorite. The therapist asks if the pain bothers her, because some of the objects are sharp. We don't get to hear Hunter's answer. At home, she is with Catherine while the latter cuts fruits and vegetables to prepare a smoothie. The woman wants to reconnect Hunter's body and mind. Richie arrives, wanting to take his wife to meet someone. Therefore, the couple ventures downstairs to meet a man named Louie. Richie informs Hunter that he is a nurse. This makes her feel like a senior citizen. Richie can't be with her all the time, so he sees this as the only solution. Catherine comes to offer a few words as well, to convince Hunter this is a good option for her. Later, we see Hunter home alone with Louie. The man wants to help her in the kitchen. Getting irritated, she wants to prepare the food herself. Instead of helping, he just stands there, watching the housewife. Louie says he's from Damascus. He left because of the war. According to him, Hunter would not have had her mental problem if she knew what war is like. When she starts walking to the washroom, Louie follows her. He reminds her of his job before she goes in, so she lets him do a body search. Once she is clear, she can go. Unfortunately, the system isn't foolproof. She searches under the toilet to find a bag of small items she can swallow. She takes one of them out to do exactly that. In the therapist's office, the therapist knows Hunter swallowed a battery. Hunter lies on the couch, annoyed, claiming it's not a big deal. But the therapist thinks the battery is a serious thing. If it leaked inside her stomach, the acid could have taken her life. She wants to know why Hunter swallowed the specific objects she did. Hunter offers that it makes her feel in control. In the process of leaving, she wants to tell the therapist about her mother, but something makes her change her mind. At home, we see Richie's birthday celebration. A respectable amount of people are there in the couple's fancy house. Hunter offers mini sandwiches on a platter. A lady says she can't have any, because if she eats any more food, she could get her stomach pumped. Then she realizes what she said, causing her to apologize to Hunter. Richie happens to be close by, telling her it's okay. In a short time, Hunter tells her husband slightly outside the party that she would rather that no one knew about her problem. She cannot believe he told them all. His only response is that he doesn't want her to ruin his birthday. Shortly after, we get to witness Aaron asking another lady to hug him. What is with these men? On another night, Hunter asks Richie to apologize for telling everyone about her problem. He defends that this whole situation hasn't been easy on him, he needed support. She wants to know if he still loves her, and he claims that he does. He wants to be more understanding of her condition. Back at the therapist's place, the lady wants to speak about Hunter's family. Hunter mentions something important about her past. Violation was involved. Her father isn't truly her father, because her mom was violated. Hunter is the product of that violation. The culprit was caught and spent time in prison. Hunter even shows the therapist a picture of him. The lady is surprised that Hunter carries it around. We learn that her family does not believe in abortion of any kind. She goes on to say her parents were good to her. The next scene has Hunter at home gardening, while being watched from a distance by Louie. She holds dirt in her hand, looking at it with interest. Before long, she empties her hand of it. As Richie shaves, he talks to Hunter's therapist on the phone, and she mentions Hunter's past. She thinks Hunter's life is in danger due to her guilt complex. She needs Richie's love and acceptance. Now Richie has become curious about his wife's past, yet the therapist can't tell him anymore. If she won't inform him, he threatens to remove Hunter from her list of clients. Therefore, she is forced to reveal Hunter's secret. We see how Hunter stands close by, overhearing the conversation. She is dirty because of her gardening, not realizing that she is smudging herself with her hands. Upon noticing it, she washes herself with a hose. Richie comes over to her, offering to buy her a gift, trying to follow the therapist's advice about being loving. She just repeats the word, bracelet. Richie interprets that as the item she wants him to get. When he leaves, Hunter experiences trouble. It prompts her to get down on the floor, where she crawls under the bed. It doesn't take long for Louie to walk in, looking for her. Hunter only tells him to leave. He soon joins her under the bed to check on the troubled lady. Hunter wakes up later on, still under the bed. Louie is there too. He fell asleep by her side and is still sleeping. She comes out, hurriedly looking for something in the kitchen. What she finds is the most dangerous item yet, a nail. Of course, it goes straight into her mouth. Shortly afterward, she starts choking, causing Louie to get out from under the bed to tend to her. In the next scene, we see Richie in the hospital waiting room, along with his dad. An operation is performed on Hunter, which results in the removal of the nail. Back at her house, the entire family is there with her. Hunter is at the center of attention. We should recall how distant everyone was with the poor lady at the start. Now her problem forces everyone to orient around her, expending a lot of their resources in her direction. Catherine talks about how they can't be with her all the time. However, a certain different group of people will. Despite Hunter's desire to stay with this family, claiming all the swallowing was just a silly game, Catherine says she has to go somewhere else to get better. Michael adds that if she doesn't go, Richie will divorce her. Hunter then signs a paper consenting to being admitted to a psychiatric hospital. She will have to stay there for 7 months. Before she goes, she hands her ring and her watch to Catherine. Having forgotten her charger, she heads back home for it. Richie wants to get it for her, but Hunter insists on getting it herself. Louie is there with her when she collects it. While they're together, she turns to look at him with a certain expression. We don't get to see what they speak about. Yet the next sequence of events will show that Louie agreed to help her escape. Louie runs to the washroom to open the window, turn on the faucet, and lock the door. They planned her escape. We see Hunter running through the woods. Meanwhile, Louie returns to the family to tell them she is in the washroom. Eventually, enough time passes that they are all standing behind the washroom door, trying to talk to the Hunter that isn't there. Richie pulls it open, only to learn that she ran away. By hitchhiking, Hunter escapes the area. After the ride, she collects some dirt, which she places in her coat pocket. Then she occupies a motel. At night, she calls Richie, saying she still has feelings for him. The man misses her very much, wanting things to return to normal. He tells her everything will be different from this point. They will go anywhere she wants to. He also says he loves her. Once she says she can't return to him, he asks her what she's going to do. He thinks that being with him is the best it is ever going to get for her. He even threatens to hunt her down. Before she ends the call, he yells for her to return and bring him his baby. Hunter uses a lamp to smash her phone to pieces, preventing future calls from Richie. Later, she eats the dirt she collected. Of course, it causes her to start coughing. She has to use the washroom. After that, she lies in bed, exhausted from her hectic day. Upon our heroine waking up, she leaves the motel and uses a payphone. Her mom is the person she calls. She wants to come and visit her. The conversation is going well at first, until her mom says there is no room for Hunter because of her sister's baby. This prompts Hunter to angrily put down the phone. She gets someone to drive her to another house. About to approach it, she holds out the picture of her mother's violator. Since the front door is open, she slowly lets herself in. The house is full of people celebrating a birthday. The birthday happens to belong to the very man she probably came to see. The cake has his name on it. Seeing it seems to affect her in such a way that she goes to vomit in the toilet. Following this, we see a man cutting a cake with a little girl. He looks like the older version of the man from Hunter's picture. The girl gives a piece of the cake to Hunter, who is now there. She tells the man he has his daughter's eyes, thinking he meant his younger daughter. He says she has his wife's eyes. His eyes are hazel. The man wonders if they've met before. He knows her face, but can't remember from where. He introduces himself as William. He wants to know who invited her to the party. At that point, Hunter asks him if he remembers Jill McCoy. That lady is her mom. William's face changes once he hears that name. His wife is there to ask who that is, and he is forced to lie by saying she's an old friend of his who he hasn't seen in quite some time. He stutters while talking about her, and lies again that he met Jill 1 week ago. Soon William's wife leaves with their daughter, finally allowing Hunter the alone time she desired with her biological father. The poor lady gives him a resentful look. The man asks if she's going to ruin his life. She doesn't know what she's going to do. She wants the most important question answered first: why he did what he did. William can't explain it, but then he says it made him feel special. Having a secret made him feel important. Everyone thought he was some regular guy, yet on the inside, he knew what he did. In jail, he experienced hardship. That is the place he realized he wasn't important, he was inferior. Hunter then asks the other important question, if he is ashamed of her. William expresses shame only towards what he did. He adds that she's not like him because she wants to hear it. The last thing her dad tells her is she did nothing wrong. At another time, Hunter sits before a doctor who instructs her about how to take her abortion pills. Afterward, our heroine occupies a mall, eating by herself. There, she takes her pills as the doctor instructed. Going to the toilet reveals blood. She is now free of the baby Richie gave her. By going through with it, she shows she isn't like her mother, who could not get an abortion under any circumstances. Hunter looks at herself in the mirror for several seconds, perhaps realizing she is now cured.